Hello and welcome to another episode of Rallying the Forge. I'm Solimer, and we are back from the holiday break, and I'm going to recap the second SolForge Fusion Championship Series finals that took place this past Friday. I did participate. I finished 11th, I think, and there's a lot to talk about, so we'll dig into that, and let's start with the event itself. So on the challenge website, you can see here we had 3 rounds. We had 65 participants. Yeah, 65 players. Had a couple drop after the first round. 62 all the way to the end, it looks like, for the most part. I don't think anyone else dropped. We had a guy drop at 1-1 maybe. So, why? Oh, he didn't get credit with that. No, he didn't drop. He just got a bye, and it doesn't count as a win. So, we had 3 rounds, and the standings you see here are not the final actual standings. So, this was a confusion amongst the players at large, not just with me, but I was under the impression the wins were the first factor, and then the points were the second factor, or the tiebreaker, and then you get the Buchholz, and then total damage, I think, is what they used as the next one. But apparently points was the first factor, then wins, then Buchholz, then total damage. So we'll get into that with the standings, but you can see here this is by wins. The website does it by wins. I don't know if they can change that or not because I got the points thing here. Not positive. So you can see we had 9 players go undefeated, 3-0. And we had a bunch of players, 21 players go 2-1. And the rest were 1-1 or 1-2 or 0-3 or 0-1 for the bottom couple. But so great job by those 9 players going undefeated. I was extremely close to winning my first round match. I had dominated the whole thing, and then for cycles 3 and 4, I only drew level 1 cards essentially, and I lost the match. So one of the good things I will say about the format was they didn't use the points differential. That would have, like, I only had a +5 there versus my points of 14. That would have caused a whole different situation. So they don't go by the points differential, but there was some shenanigans that happened against me in the second round that wasn't very happy with, but it is what it is. So working towards a solution to prevent that type of stuff from happening, and but who knows if it'll really make a difference ultimately. The points thing is just a silly, arbitrary metric to use. So one of the things with so many players is, as I said, there's 9 undefeated players. In an event like this, normally you would have 5 rounds at least, maybe 6 rounds. I'd have to look up again what the cutoff is for 6 rounds. I don't know if we hit 6 rounds, but 5 rounds might have been enough to cut this down a bit. Let's see, there'd be, if we did another round, you'd still have 5. Then you'd have potentially 3. So maybe it should have been 6 rounds. But would have had a lot more information for players. So when it paired people, it paired by wins and by standings and not by the points, which is what we were going by, though. Once we figured out, by the end of the game, by the end of the 3 matches, we had figured out that points was the determining factor for the standings, not wins, which is disappointing. Wins should mean more than points. Overkill, essentially. So I do have my matches recorded. I'll be putting them up later this week at some point. But they were 3 really good matches and a lot of tough battles going on. As I said, I lost my first round match. It went from a dominating first 2 rounds to being crushed in the latter 2. I just didn't draw what I needed at all. I mean, there are so many ways for me to have done better, but that's the name of the game sometimes. So the final standings, switch over to the Discord where they posted it up in the 100X Discord. So they list out the rewards. That was something else. Didn't really know the rewards. We knew there was going to be $1,000 in SFG, or roughly that much. Maybe it's ended up being more. I don't know. Deck codes and whatnot, and some badges and playmats. So we knew that stuff was coming, but didn't know how it was going to be distributed. And I don't know if this was the same as the first time or not, but I didn't research it either. But I don't remember seeing it out. So I didn't realize it was going to go this deep where everyone basically gets something. So that's why it was a pleasant surprise when I finished 11th. Still placed for a little bit of money. Got 4 deck codes, and I get a badge. So shows you here, they break down the standings, points, wins, the book holds, and then total damage. And that's based on the screenshots everyone sent in for all their matches. So Mr. Huat got first. Congratulations to him for winning. He gets to make a custom in-game emote. I'm sure he will love that. Di Veraldo got second. Prometheus got third. He's the one who won the first one, last month's or October's. And then we go down from there all the way down to 40th place, and then you got 41st through 65th, because it didn't matter for any difference from there, I guess. But they break it down pretty good, how they did it. You can see the tiebreakers. So, for example, outside of the top 8, then you had 9th through 12th, which is where I fell in. We had 3 14-point players and a 13-point player, Handit, who went 3-0 but only got 13 points. So he was penalized, essentially, for one of his matches. He must have gone to cycle 4, end of the game, and won by total health. But then, so we have 3 people with 14 points. We all went 2-1. You have Antofa, who had the 2 Buchholz ranking, and then Shaw and myself both have 1 Buchholz, but he did more damage than I did, which leads me to what happened in my second match, which you'll see when I post up the video. My opponent essentially realizes he's going to lose the match, and he instead decides just to lose because it takes him to 0 instead of going blocking and taking 1 more turn where I put him negative, where I would do essentially another, it would have been like maybe 10 damage, maybe it would have been 15. I'd have to look back and see exactly the exact amount, but that amount of damage would have put me close to a shot. I could have got 10th, but it doesn't change anything in my rewards, but it could have for somebody. I'd have to look and see if there's anyone who's cut off. So it's a lot of questionable antics with, instead of just playing the game the right way, this damage matters, and it wouldn't have mattered for my opponent other than he's basically just screwing me. And I don't know how many other players had this happen, but it's really unsportsmanlike, and I feel like the integrity of the game is at play when you allow these type of shenanigans. So for me, it's just one of those things that I think it's wrong, and I don't think the damage factor should be in this calculation. The points It should be by wins, then the book holds. And if you do more rounds, if you get this many people and you do 5 rounds, right now, book holds, you're going to get one match that's going to determine your score. Either they're going to be a 2 or they're going to be a 1. Or I guess they could be 0. Let me see if it shows 0 for other people. Yeah. Well, I guess if you only... Yeah, somebody had 0. But the only logical way it's going to be, you're going to have 2 or 1 with 3 rounds, because it gets rid of your highest and your lowest opponents from your ranking, and it gives you a better average in case you had an outlier where you faced someone really hard, but the rest of your matches weren't, or you faced someone really weak, but all your other matches were hard. It helps balance that out. So with more rounds, you'll have more results that will help better balance the book holds rating, which makes it more valuable. If you do it by wins and then the book holds next, I think that's probably the best way to go if you're going to end up doing 5 rounds. This event was supposed to be 3 rounds, half hour each, so should have been done in an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours if you give time for giving the decks out and building the decks, which normally you get 15 minutes for. If you do that, I think that's still reasonable. We end up going 3.5 hours for this event. And while, I was off and it was no big deal, I was able to stay and play. I'm not sure if that affected anyone else, but everyone else who stayed, most of the people did stay and play. That was still a really long time. And had they stuck to the timer, we could have done the 5 rounds. So I hope in the future that they decide to do up to 5 rounds perhaps, and stick closer to the timer, so that way we can get more matches in and get a better, more true standings of who's actually first, instead of by this silly points system. If they do the points again, I'm not going to not participate, but I'm not a fan of it. I think it leads to too many shenanigans, and it kills me a little bit inside when they're hyping up Arboris as, this top card. And it takes a really special deck to be able to keep the life gain up, to be able to get the 100 out there and be able to get the extra bonus points, which I think one of these guys did. Someone did, I think, had an Arboris, got it out, got some bonus points. I don't know who it was. I didn't face them. But overall, though, revisiting the qualifiers, they were really well ran for the most part. It was a lot of starter deck heavy, so I hope they move away from that. But I think overall, the qualifiers were a really good experience. Easy to sign up on the challenge site. You got to join the Discord, and then for each event, they did have someone who spoke English. So if it was, if the group, the guild running the event spoke, say, Portuguese or Spanish or French or some other language, they obviously, the people running it probably speak the language. They can put it out there, but then you also had an English-speaking person to put it out for non-native speakers for whatever their guild speaks. So I think that was really well done. It made being in the other Discords a lot easier and understanding what's going on, and the process for submitting results and things. Screenshots. It's it is what it is. If they brought this into the client, it could be a lot smoother. But for what it was, I thought it was really well ran overall. All the events I participated in, outside of one, were great. The only issue I had with one of them was my opponent played... I could have played blindfolded faster. So That was my only complaint about the one player playing slow. He started like 10 minutes late and then played really slow the entire time, and it was nerve-wracking because he was ahead in health, and had they just cut it off, I would have lost just because of that, even though I was going to win the match. But otherwise, the qualifiers were great. The finals were ran pretty well. The rounds went long. There was a lot of extra talk and things going on and trying to get results in and people not submitting them. My suggestion for that would be extend the match timer to like 40 minutes because 30 minutes is really tight for a lot of newer players. You know, if you had a group of just veterans, 30 minutes is no problem. But newer players, 40 minutes is probably better, and I would set a hard timer there where at that point when you ask for the screenshots, you give them a minute or two to submit the results, or they just get zeros for the round. And people are like, oh, well, we don't want to be that. Like, the problem is you need to be considerate of all the other people playing and participating. There are people who the hours are late for them, and they're having to stay up, or they're getting up early for it if it's morning for them. You know, so there's a lot of other factors to consider, and it's not just about being mean to somebody. People are intentionally holding on, trying to get that win out. You know, get that win. They're a turn away from it, and they want to get it. Well, if time runs out, if you do a hard timer, you give them that timer to get that screenshot in. There's no other way to enforce it unless you bring it in client and they've got a way for it just to end the match at the timer. That would be, a way to do it potentially. So that's my recommendation. I posted a thread on the Discord about this, and I put my thoughts out there. The other people had a lot of complaints and thoughts about it as well. Overall, I think it's a great series, a great event. It's way more generous than I thought it was going to be. I hope they continue it. I hope they have one this month. I would look forward to trying to find some time to be able to get some of the qualifiers in, because those were fun, even if they were starter decks. Everyone's starting to figure out the starter decks, though, so you're seeing a lot of the mirror matches. I think it's time to pull out the counter deck to that deck if they do some this month. But really happy with the end result of it. A lot of participation, a lot of the same people participating in the qualifiers every time and this, but I think it's good for the game, and it's a lot of fun. You're playing a lot of different people, new people. It was a sealed event, so it wasn't like someone with a lot more decks got to play against a player who's only got 10 decks maybe. So it was luck of the draw, and then from there, doing the best you can with what you got and trying to make the most of it. I did get a fairly good deck. I was disappointed I went 2-1. I should have won that first match, but I drew dead the last two cycles, basically entirely. 5 turns of... I had 1 turn of some level 3 creatures. Otherwise, everything was level 2 or lower. It was bad. So, like I said, not going to harp on it too much, but I put my suggestions out in the Discord. We'll see if they adopt anything or if they make any changes. Overall, I think it was a good event. I think if they're going to do it by points, they need to find a way to match people by points, so the big points people can face off against each other instead of just people who win their matches. Because that gives a big advantage to the people who are getting the points. After 1 or 2 rounds of them getting those bonus points, because if you win all 3 matches, that's 15 points if you got them down to 0. So you can see, based on this, there's only 8 players with 15 or higher, 5 players who got anyone into the negative, or negative 10 or higher. And the top 3 were 18, so they got somebody or multiple people into the negative heavy. So it's a silly part of that. Or just get rid of the negative. Don't worry about the negative, and just do the points up to down to 0, and after that, no more bonus points. We'll see what they do. I don't anticipate a lot of changes from it, but we'll see how they respond with that. Let's see here. So again, congrats to Mr. Huat. He wins. You can see here by the website, he would have gotten second because it has the points differential as the last tiebreaker. But like I said, it was a really fun event. So many matches going on, so many things. They did a good job with the commentary through the round. They had people streaming. I streamed mine, of course, but I was on Twitch. And they did a good job trying to hype up some matches and things of that nature. I thought they did a pretty good job with everything. Other than the Arboris being this ultimate great card when it's really a bad card. Rotting Arboris, much better. But at the same time, not good for this format. So, yeah, we'll see what this month brings, if they do anything. There hasn't been any announcement yet that I've seen regarding that for any events coming up. So I don't know if they're taking the holiday season off, if they're going to kick it back up in January. I hope they don't stop. I hope they keep going. They've got a lot of momentum right now. I think all these players that have been playing will come back for the qualifiers, and you'll get, they could do it on the 26th, the day after Christmas. It's a great day. It's a Friday again. They could do another finals on that, and so we'll see what this month kicks up. We'll know more as the week goes on, and in my next video, if they do post some events, I will cover it. I don't think I was gonna look. Let's open this up. I gotta go to Discord for it, or Chrome rather. So they made a little thing here. They've got basically you represent the clan or the guild that you qualified in their qualifier. So you have Mr. Huat was Sylphy Academy, D. Veraldo was Legacy GG, Prometheus was Socials Rising, Javier Zavi, Fury GG, and Anovis was Sylphy Academy. So Sylphy Academy has 2 people, top 5. So they did just post that up today. So great job by them. And as we said, Mr. Huat will get an in-game emote that he gets to create. And I don't know how that's going to work, if only he gets it, or if he's able to give it out, or if other people can get it, or whatnot. Oh, it does say December's SFCS starts tomorrow. Lock in. So right there, look at that. In the post, they will have stuff this month. So if you're looking to participate, let me pull up the calendar. How about that? Let me see if they've got it in the Discord at all. If they've got any events posted already. Upcoming events. So they might have something already. Am I on the right Discord? Yeah. So nothing posted yet, although it says tomorrow. Let me pull up the official calendar in case it just didn't update yet. The Google Calendar. Yeah, nothing's posted yet. So we'll keep an eye on that. My next video could be before the end of the week if they're doing any patch or updates this week. We don't have one yet. But if we start getting some events posted, I'll have it in my next video and all the details there. But this is a good segue into this month's SBE special event, and it's the Winter Solstice event. So How did he give us pairings? Oh, we get our email. I haven't checked my email. I'll have to look. So the Winter Solstice event is starting. We have 24 people, it looks like. And it says here what to do. You'll receive 4 codes in your email. You'll give one of those codes and give it to your opponent of that week. They must make a deck using that code, and you must make a deck using the code your opponent gave you. Find a time to meet up during the week to play with your opponent. Matches can be best of 3 or best of 1. Just agree on which you would like to do beforehand. Submit your results. The following week, I will pair you up again with your next partner, and you will give them one of your remaining codes. So, we'll have to check for the codes. I wonder what set we're getting. I hope we're getting the Scientist set. That would be really fun and really cool. But I don't know what set we're getting or if we're getting multiple sets. We'll see how that goes. Let me go to the website here so we can see the pairings. Gonna have to get a hold of Sean T. Don't know who that is. I'll have to dig around for it. I know Caleb F. I can give him that. I'm not sure on Mike M. or Jonathan H. We'll see if we can't figure out who's who. So that starts this week. That's going to be 1 match per week, except for the last week will be over the course of 2 weeks because of Christmas and New Year's. So you'll have extra time to play your match. The monthly Convergence League just ended for November. He made an announcement somewhere. Yeah, here. So we had some new people qualify for the Convergence Championships. The next league will be January 5th. Signups will go up later this week. So congrats to those players who qualified, joining October's group of qualifiers. 2, 4, 6, 7. I don't know if any of these people already qualified. I feel like Mr. Huat might have, but maybe he didn't. But we have January will be, I think, the last month of the Convergence League for this series, and then the championships will be February, is my understanding, and then we'll see if they start up another Convergence League from there. My tool is up to date for January with the Scientist drop, all of that info. It's all in there now, so you can start prepping for it now if you want the extra time. Of course, there's lots of time between now and then for you to make changes as well. So, all right. This is going to be gone by the time anyone sees this, but the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, they had 30% off site-wide, and physical boosters, buy one, get one free. So you buy one, it adds a second of the same to your cart for free. So that's basically 50% off of those. So it's not a bad price for set 2. So I bought some set 2. You can get set 1 cheaper elsewhere. And set 3 is still ridiculously priced at $30 for a booster instead of $20. So I hope they bring that down to $20, because I would have bought some of those had they had it reasonable. But my price point basically is at most for set 2, $10 a booster. For set 1, it's below $10. It's probably like $8 tops. And then for set 3, it would also be at this point. I might be willing to pay $11 per booster for set 3, but I won't pay full price. And set 4, which they don't plan to have sell at all, but if there was people who sold set 4, I probably wouldn't pay much more than $12 a booster for it. So, and as more sets release, the prices will keep dropping for the old sets, as by that time I probably already got most of what I need out of them, even though you can still get some really, really good decks out of them. You know, there's an infantile amount of decks to potentially get. So you can get a lot of crap, you can get a lot of good stuff too. But I did purchase some, so I look forward to that coming in soon for the holidays. We also have the Gamefound stuff should be coming soon. No announcement on it yet, but this is the 6th week, so we should hear something by the end of the week, hopefully, for it. I'm hopeful that we'll get the stuff next week, latest. That should be all for the digital rewards, and we hopefully can get an update on the shipping for the physical product, for those of us who got physical product. But we'll see what happens there. Other than that, not a whole lot going on in the game. We do have Phantoms right here. So I'm going to open up my son's Phantoms, see if he gets anything good. We'll see. He does have some Soulbind potions from the Battle Pass. Battle Pass still available. Goes through the middle of January. I think like the 13th of January was the date given. So still lots of time. 600k XP earned. You can earn, 30,000 plus XP from doing campaign, depending on the ascension level you do. So, one campaign a day, and you'll have it completed in no time. So let's open this up. See if it's anything good. Boom. It is set 4, unfortunately. Not a big fan of set 4. But what can you do? All right. Got a Built-A-Bot. System upgrade's nice. Master Machine, okay. Of course, it's a loin, so it's not going to be great. Okay, allies are cheating. Balking Flesh Fiend. Siphoner, Lingerer, Duplicitous Mutant. He loses that value, and you have to destroy a creature to get his value back, unfortunately. I don't like Duplicitous as a modifier. A lot of augments here. It's 3. Endless Hunt, but no dude to go with it. So that's going to be another no thank you. All right, let's look at Tempest. Balking Frostbearer. Frost Stack. So we got 2 of the Yetis. Lindworm. Kaz Arcweaver's cool. He'd go well with that Necreum deck, I suppose. Snowfear, that's 3 of the Yetis. If we get the 4th, he's going to have to Soulbind this. Oh, he got a Stoic Snowman. He didn't get the other guy, though. And he got a Glacier with it. Ooh. Phoenix's Blessing. Trial by Lightning. Okay. How much else movement does he have? Just Glacier moves. But he's got 3 of the Yetis. He's just missing the one that swaps their health to make it their attack. Kind of need that guy. This would be a great deck if they had that instead of this. And if it had the spell that one of your Okay, one of your Yeti's blast or whatever, and it does massive damage. That'd be nice. So, if you haven't noticed on the update for the latest update they have, they've got this where it takes you through and you can just see what you're looking for if you want to see the creatures, spells, exalts, soulbinds. The icons don't necessarily make sense, but they are what they are. So that's an okay, interesting deck, I guess. Alright, and lastly we get Utera. I might open my decks, maybe I'll do that too. Okay. Tyrann. So Bright Tusk, Core Kidrith, Hydra, Mimic Worm, Reliable Fortirex, Stoic Swiftclaw, Udaman, Channeling Axe, Noxious Cloud, The Fittest. I mean, it's an interesting deck, but I don't know that it's enough to make me want to soulbind anything. I don't think, yeah. He's not even halfway through yet. So, yes, let me switch accounts real quick. And we can get my stuff. Let me bookmark this stuff real quick. Alrighty, let's see what I get. Will I get anything good? I don't know. Youth's sweet people. Belladria, Boosting Bee, Dozer, Hydra, Felonarch, Mimic Worm, Pack Mother, a lot of beasts. Holy moly, beast. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beasts. Acidic Pit, Call of the Forest, and Radiant Metamorphosis. With that many beasts, it's just tempting to want to save it and find a good beast pairing for it with Necrium. Man, that's a maybe for me. It really is. I don't necessarily think it's that amazing, but maybe there's something for it. Tundra sucks. We got Island, Cinderheart, Hammerbearer, Pyrax, Waterweaver, Berserker. This is definitely no. It does have 4 spells. It's got Charge Burst, Draconic Echoes, Elemental Discovery, and Trial by Lightning, but the creatures are garbage. And the Forgeborn's garbage. So Necron, we got Black Cherry Dread, Dark Lingerer, Fuse, Queen's Assassin, need a Verlan on here. Reliable Bubbler, Soul Scourge Grimgaunt, Stoic Necroworm. No Verlana. Oof. Miss. Yeah, just meh. All right, the last one. I'm not getting my hopes up. The Etched Positron Sparks. Axion Shift. Built-A-Bot. Bland Creatures Galore. Titanium Null. Veilbite. Yeah. Yeah. Not a fan. Okay. So that's my Phantoms. It's all my son's Phantoms. They're not great this month. I'm done with wanting set 4 Phantoms every month, but would be nice to get legendary drop set Phantoms. Make it interesting for people, or give them opportunity to get free versions of those decks. Let them use their Soulbind potions up on them. But yeah, so that's all I've got for this episode. I did want to talk about obviously the SFCS stuff, which was a great experience, really positive overall. We talked about the winter solstice coming up, starting this week, starting now, and your monthly Phantoms are there. So as I said, we'll probably have an episode later in the week with more info on the qualifiers this month for the third SFCS. If there's any patches that come out this week or any updates to that. We haven't talked about mobile in a little bit. There hasn't been an update in a little bit, so we're hoping to get an update maybe this week for that. Would be nice. And then also on the horizon is that they're hoping to get a wider base of players on mobile, but they definitely need to get some things fixed on it before they get to that point, in my opinion. So I'm hoping the next patch that they do with that fixes all the bugs that we've been giving them. And if that happens, then they might be able to look at expanding the test base. But that's all I've got. Appreciate your time. I'll see you guys next time, and hope to see you guys in game and hopefully in some of the qualifiers. I will be trying to make some in the evenings, maybe on weekends. We'll see what my schedule allows. But appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a comment and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Thank you.